Hey everyone! Before we get into the video, I wanted to put this disclaimer out there. I recorded a lot of this audio and wrote this script before Joker was released as DLC. I was planning on getting it done before then, but Nintendo gave us a one-day warning on Joker, and it just wasn't going to happen. So I say a few things in the past tense, just so you know. I'm not crazy. I love Joker. I made a video about it. Go check it out. Alright, enjoy the video. I don't know about you guys, but I can't wait for Joker and the rest of the DLC fighters to be released for Smash Ultimate. I know absolutely nothing about Persona, probably less than nothing if we're being real honest, but I'm still jazzed for a new fighter in Smash. Probably the biggest topic of speculation when a new Smash game is coming out is which characters are going to be introduced to the series, and it feels like the roster, besides obviously increasing in numbers, has gotten increasingly diverse with each installment. When I learned that Mewtwo was in Melee, I thought, well, there's no way they can top this. Might as well stop the series. Then Sonic was announced for Brawl, and as a kid in 8th grade at the time, I was beyond words. Now we've finally gotten Ridley and King K. Rool, but we're still clamoring for the new characters to be revealed. Today, I'm going to be discussing my wish list of characters that I would love to see in Ultimate. Many of these characters are unlikely for one reason or another, but were still important enough to make it on my list, and it just makes for a much more interesting video that way. Among the mascot wars of the mid-90s, Mario and Sonic led the charge as flagship characters for Nintendo and Sega consoles. Sony found their temporary mascot with Crash Bandicoot in 1996, but I'm not introing this to talk about Crash right now. If you ask anyone else who the next Sony mascot would have to be after Crash, you are definitely going to get some people to talk about their favorite purple reptile since Barney, Spyro the Dragon. Spyro was everything you needed in a platforming mascot at the time. He was appealing to look at, distinct from other mascots, and had that 90s attitude, the epitome of a true video game mascot. While some nowadays may know Spyro from Skylanders, newer gamers have just been given a way to experience Spyro in his classic style in the Reignited trilogy. While the game hasn't been ported to Switch yet, I think announcing him as a playable fighter in Ultimate would be the best way to lead into a Reignited release on the Switch. He'd have plenty of potential in moveset too. There could be some cool integration with Sparks either in his health meter, or have him act similarly to Luma in Rosalina's moveset. And his alternate colors could just get brought over from the cheat codes for different colors in his games. Spyro is practically built for Smash. These guys have been requested since the very first Smash game. Imagine what Smash 64 would have been like if Banjo and Kazooie had been in that very first game, then get stripped from the series when Microsoft bought out Rareware. There wouldn't be any conversations of, well, this character has been in every Smash, so they're a shoo-in to get in the next one. Regardless, Banjo and Kazooie were on track to become the hottest platforming duo of all time. But after said Rareware buyout, they faded into the darkness, except for one GBA game, and that game. Microsoft seems to be very willing to work with Nintendo right now, with the news of Xbox Live services coming to Switch, and the very friendly social media interactions between the companies, so Banjo and Kazooie would be a definite no-brainer. I'd imagine they could work somewhat similar to Duck Hunt. Banjo can be most of the brawn, with some more technical special moves being relegated to Kazooie. And their final smash could involve Mumbo dropping in, transforming the bear and bird into some kind of animal, each one capable of complete devastation. Unlike Sonic, this guy sure doesn't chuckle. It's Knuckles, and I know he's an assist trophy, and that he's not Shadow. But here's the thing. If Shadow were to make it into the game as a playable character, and not as an assist trophy, he would have to be an echo character for Sonic. There's barely enough to differentiate him and Sonic, unless if we give Shadow guns. But that would be a terrible idea. Who would give a cute little hedgehog firearms? Knuckles, on the other hand, would be a great, unique addition to the roster. He could definitely play like Sonic, but have a greater focus on hand-to-hand combat, not as much on quick gameplay. I'm thinking of a fox and wolf relationship. Similar characters, just different traits switched around to make them more unique. And while gliding has since been taken out of Smash, Knuckles would have definitely been a candidate for this mechanic. There could even be an attempt at allowing him to climb walls instead of wall jumping. He could at the very least stick his knuckles into the walls, similar to how Greninja sticks to the walls. Honestly, I think Tails would be a great addition as a playable fighter, but he would be very technical, and I just couldn't think of anything during the planning of this video to really flesh him out. So Knuckles was the frontrunner for this spot on the list, and who could say no to Hyper Knuckles for a final smash? Nintendo needs to treat this guy right. Look at Mega Man and Pac-Man. They got treated better than their actual companies. Knuckles deserves this VIP treatment just as much. There's so many awesome characters in the Star Fox universe. And there's also Slippy. All joking aside, Slippy is such an important part of Team Star Fox. He's their tech dude. So, doesn't that make him seem a little out there as a fighter? I don't think Slippy himself would make a great fighter. He was present in a few ground missions in Star Fox Assault, but I don't think there's enough there to really give him his own spot. But then I remembered the game that was bundled with Star Fox Zero, Starfox Guard. In this game, you take control of a different camera located around a tower defense grid, and while it wouldn't be any fun controlling a stationary fighter, it could be the premise of a really neat design for a new fighter. You could take the R-Wing Walker from Star Fox Zero, or create some other generic mech fighter, and turn that into the actual character being controlled in a fight. Slippy would be the character, but the mech would do more of the fighting. While it would be kinda lame to have a character be represented, but not really be that character, I think just a nameless mech would be even worse. Rob at least has a name, and thanks to the Subspace Emissary, he garnered a little bit of personality to attach to him. Slippy could even drop into the fight himself for the final smash. There's some potential here for sure, although this is probably one of the more unlikely candidates on the list. So I love Brawl. It's my favorite Smash game overall, although how can I argue with how good Ultimate is? Once the game was released and there were data mines into the game's code, people started noticing some interesting placeholder names, like Roy and Mewtwo being there, even though they were cut in the final game. But the one I'm talking about is the bit of code that is more than likely referring to Plusle and Minun. If you want to know the big bits of information regarding this, go ahead and Google it. It's a really interesting read. Plusle and Minun, and trust me, I'm not creative enough for this. This is just what multiple people have theorized when they saw the game's code. Would have worked similarly to Ice Climbers, probably taking a lot of traits from Pichu. This duo would be a quick, aggressive team. They would rely heavily on keeping both of them alive, again, similar to Ice Climbers. An alternate skin for them could be the Pichu brothers from the anime, but that would probably require Pichu not to be his own character. But I mean, Smash has done crazier things. Had you told me there was a chance of this character being in Smash prior to this year, I would have lost my mind. This character has no place being in Smash. His games are way too mature. They don't fit in the Smash playstyle. And yet, Snake fit in rather well. So why not put Master Chief in Smash? Like I said earlier with Banjo and Kazooie, Microsoft and Nintendo have been incredibly buddy-buddy on social media recently. Master Chief is the next logical step. His basic assault rifle from the games could act similarly to how Mega Man's Buster works, or Fox's Blaster. It won't make enemies flinch, but it can do some significant damage if it keeps connecting. Or there could be a mechanic unique to him where he has a set amount of ammo, and once he's out of ammo, he's strictly using his fists to fight. Master Chief could use a gravity launcher for his recovery move, similar to Sonic's Spring or Mega Man's recovery with Rush. And imagine an energy sword being introduced as an item in the game. That would literally make fanboys scream. It would make non-fanboys scream. Everyone would scream. And it'd just be a grand old time. If you don't like Mario being 3 separate characters, I have bad news for you. I want another. Paper Mario. And there's also 3 links that are even more similar to each other than Mario, Luigi, and Dr. Mario are, so I don't want to hear it. The paper version of the mustachioed plumber would have the opportunity to be very different and unique. Mario has never used the hammer that he was famous for using in Donkey Kong, since that's always been an item. It would have to be a staple in Paper Mario's moveset. He could swing it like DDD and Kirby, he could throw it like Simon and Richter. The possibilities are endless. His buddies could make it in as assist trophies, or even be part of his moveset. like how Duck Hunt summons 3 different gunmen to fire at opponents. I can also picture a recovery where he turns into a paper airplane and just darts up at the sky. And let's just make him even more powerful. Let's give him a meter like Little Mac and Cloud. This meter is going to use the Star Spirits from the first Paper Mario game. I'm not thinking of any super powered attack, but a good strong attack using the Star Spirits would make Paper Mario a unique, worthy addition to the roster. I'm gonna be honest, I have never played the game this character comes from. I know next to nothing except that it involves time travel. But based on what I've seen, Chrono from Chrono Trigger seems like a logical character to put in Smash. Here's the basics. Chrono Trigger first premiered on the Super NES, and it was ported to the DS around the late 2000s. Yeah, it was also ported to the PlayStation, but we've already got Cloud in Smash. And even though Final Fantasy first premiered on Nintendo consoles, he has never primarily been in a game on a Nintendo console, excluding Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories and Final Fantasy Theatrhythm, since those aren't games that he is primarily featured in, not the main character. So Chrono has more merit to being in Smash than Cloud does. Like I said, I have no idea what Chrono is capable of. I have no idea what a moveset could look like. I guess he's got a sword? I guess he could hit people with it? There could be some kind of cool time travel mechanics? He's got all kinds of partner characters like a regular RPG. He could move them in somehow. From how highly regarded this game is, I'm honestly surprised he isn't already in Smash. It sounds like a perfect fit to me. And since he's designed by Akira Toriyama, it's close to getting Goku. And isn't that what we all really want at the end of the day? Now, like I said at the beginning of the video, most of this list just has been a listing of characters that I wouldn't mind seeing in Smash, without really having a true ranking. But these last 2 characters are the ones that I absolutely want in Smash, regardless of how possible it is that they might make it into the game. I just talked about Cloud and Chrono, and having that many Square Enix characters in the game would be very unlikely. But announcing that Sora is in the game would blow my mind. I remember playing a mod of Brawl back in my freshman year of college, and Sora was modded in, character model and all, completely over Pit, and he was OP. I don't think he would be a terribly overpowered character if he were included in Ultimate. And, you know, coded by actual people at Nintendo that know what they're actually doing. But he would definitely have the potential to be a heavy hitter. His special attacks could easily be magic spells, with regular attacks being the use of his Keyblade. And this Final Smash would be very unlikely. But Trinity Limit with Donald and Goofy would be the perfect Final Smash. It's really doubtful though that Disney would let these characters get involved. But man, it would be so cool. If we absolutely couldn't have that, Riku could bust in and do some cool duo attacks with Sora. Or even just using a mix of random abilities like Ragnarok, Sonic Blade, Ars Arcanum, etc. And we all know that Destiny Islands would be a killer stage. The Omega mode of this stage would obviously have to be the round island that Sora and Riku did their sword fights on. It would just have to be that. Or even Traverse Town's rooftops, or Hollow Bastion in front of the castle. Tons of potential for creative, unique ideas. A recent rumor has hinted at the possibility of a Dragon Quest character being the Square Enix DLC representative for Ultimate, but if the Kingdom Hearts games were ever to get ported over to the Switch, it would be a perfect time to release Sora for Smash. I talked about Spyro being a kind of dual mascot for Sony back in the 90s, and my Smash DLC list wouldn't be complete without talking about Crash Bandicoot. I adore the Crash series, even the weaker installments, but since Sonic was announced for Brawl, I've been begging for Crash to be included in Smash ever since. His name even rhymes with Smash. He's gotta be in. Crash would fit in perfectly with the roster of Smash. His vibrant orange and blue colors would make him fit right at home visually. I can already see this goofball run around the stage. His double jump is literally a part of his games. Throwing Wampa Fruit, spinning into other fighters, belly flopping, Wampa Bazooka. Tons of ideas for Crash as a fighter. I don't know if his go-kart would work as a part of his moveset, but Wario uses his bike as his side B, and Bowser Jr. has that annoying side B as well, so let's just side B it in. Give Crash his go-kart, side B all day. And a tour around Insanity Islands, like New Donk City or Isle Delfino, would be a blast. Starting on the shores of the island, traveling through the boss levels, ending up at Cortex's castle, flying away on that huge blimp. It's a stage that tells a story, and it's awe-inspiring. This Bandicoot is nuts, and would be the absolute best fit as a character. The odds of a few of these characters, if any of them, making it into Smash may be pretty slim, but I feel like part of the joy of the Smash games is hypothesizing which characters are going to make the cut and which ones are going to get left out in the cold. No matter who makes it in as the last few DLC characters, I'm sure that we'll end up looking at them and think, maybe after being a little surprised by them, that they fit in just fine with the rest of this crazy cast of characters. Let me know who you would love to see in Smash as a DLC character. There's no request that's too crazy or unlikely at this point. And until next time, see you later! And until next time, see you later! Oh my gosh.